Good evening and thanks for joining us. Susie Garib is off tonight. I'm joined by my colleague Suzanne Pratt. Suzanne, concerns escalated again today about the nation's growing foreclosure mess. On Wall Street, financial stocks really slumped as investors worried about legal scrutiny of the foreclosure process. And then in Boston, Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan said he's, quote, not so concerned the investigations would hurt the U.S. housing market.
And Tom, it was late last month when banks began to take a closer look at foreclosure documents, but that didn't stop them from seizing more than 100,000 homes in September. Exactly 102,000 properties were taken back by banks. It's the first time repos have topped 100,000 in a single month.
So we have two stories this evening looking at the foreclosure process and so-called robo-signing of foreclosure documents. We begin with Stephanie Du and the mortgage industry's controversial use of a record-keeping firm.
This is the headquarters of the Mortgage Electronic Registry Systems, MERS, which tracks half of all home loans. MERS was set up in the 90s to keep tabs on a home loan each time it changed hands. The company is owned by some of the biggest names in the industry, including Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Bank of America, GMAC, Washington Mutual, and Wells Fargo. MERS CEO R.K. Arnold says the system was designed to reduce paperwork.
The mortgage industry saw a need for a database to house that information.
There's a lot of information. Home loans are packaged, bought, and sold on a regular basis. MERS' job is to keep track of who owns what.
Yeah,
what we
right.
track are the parties that have those documents.
Yeah, right.
So we don't have the documents, but we point to the parties that do have those documents.
Yeah,
MERS
right.
has come into the crosshairs because it is foreclosing on properties, but its authority to do that is being challenged. Consumer attorney Ira Reingold says MERS doesn't have the right to foreclose.
When MERS goes to court and says, I have a right to foreclose against your home, courts are saying, but wait a second. If you're going to take someone's home, you have to establish you have a legal right to their home.
What gives MERS the right to foreclose?
The mortgage.
Yeah, right.
The borrower and the lender have both agreed that it's a condition of this loan that MERS will be placed in the land records. That mortgage has a standard paragraph that
it's
is
standard,
not different
all right.
than other mortgages, giving MERS the power to foreclose. But MERS doesn't make the decision to foreclose. That's
MERS
made
doesn't
by
have a brain
the people to whom the money
or a
is owed.
single employee.
MERS recently opened up its website to show who owns a mortgage on a property, but in many cases the investor isn't disclosed. Without a clear paper trail, there is doubt about many foreclosures. Reingold says lenders should be able to retrace their steps.
If, in fact, these transfers were recorded properly back then, mortgage companies should be able to read who owns what, right? It should be in there. And if they want to foreclose against someone's home, then they can simply identify themselves and take possession of the mortgage and note and foreclose.
If lenders can't do that, many borrowers may avoid foreclosure. Stephanie Du, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
This is Jeff Yasteen in Miami. Dennis Brown can tell you plenty about his fight with mortgage servicing companies and, by default, MERS.
It's just like, well, let's say playing in a card game, and you find out they're holding cards up under the seat.
He and his wife bought this house in 2002. Everything was fine until a not-so-funny thing started happening. The Browns were regularly sending in their monthly mortgage payments, yet somehow, some way, the servicer of their loan, City Mortgage, wasn't crediting them for their payments.
Shitty mortgage.
And no matter who Brown talked to, no one could tell him why he wasn't getting credited or where his money was going. Still, the Browns continued to pay.
Send a monthly note in, and